Everyone, Stacy Savage here, aka the Texas Trash Talker, coming at you from Austin. I'm your zero waste expert and recycling nerd of 20 years. Today we're talking about the pros of circular economy and how this affects businesses and local economies. So the circular economy really aims to reduce waste by keeping resources in circulation. It promotes reuse, repair, refurbishment, remanufacturing, and recycling instead of a linear take, make, and dispose model. So what we're doing is taking the two ends of the linear economy and we're connecting them into a loop for a circular economy. And I'll kind of go over a little bit more about why this is beneficial and far superior over a linear economy. So first, I'll give an overview about the principles of circular economy and how the current linear economy is not sustainable. There's a global interest that's growing. It's really gaining momentum. So let's explore key ideas around this. So firstly, the circular economy really seeks to eliminate waste through, you can categorize it as kind of a superior design of materials and products and even systems. The key aims of the circular economy: design out waste and pollution, extend the product lifetimes through repair, reuse, remanufacturing, shift to renewable resources. So think about the mining process, which we'll get into here in just a minute. Renewable resources that have already been mined and refined and processed. So shifting to that and prioritizing that instead of mining, new virgin materials, and then recovering valuable materials from the byproducts and actually wastes. There's a lot of valuable materials in the waste stream. So by implementing these types of strategies, the circular economy kind of decouples, it pulls away and separates the economic growth from the finite resource consumption and the value destruction. So some of the pros of circular economy, there are many benefits to transitioning to a more circular economic model. This really reduces waste and pollution. It keeps materials in use. So whenever you think of a material at the end of life, that it has just it died, it crapped out, you gotta throw it away. There's a whole system that is designed to capture that and put it back into use within the circular economy. It also conserves natural resources by using renewable and recyclable inputs. It boosts the economic growth by retaining value within the economy. It creates jobs in labor-intensive reuse, remanufacturing, and recycling. So we'll go over kind of the job outlook whenever it comes to the circular economy versus kind of what's happening in the current linear economy. And it also improves the supply chain, right? It causes resilience by localizing material looped systems. So it keeps the materials in a local capacity instead of, dumping your waste overseas in a country that barely has any environmental protections or work protections in place at all. And it really lowers the material costs by reducing the input needs. So for example, adopting circular principles could create millions of jobs globally in areas like remanufacturing and recycling. It also reduces the risks of from supply chain disruption by relying on less virgin raw materials being mined and refined, and it relies less on export, right? So whenever we talk about linear economy, what we're currently in, it's highly destructive. It is extraction based, and it leaves a wake of just a lot of inefficiency, unfortunately. So if you think about the extraction examples, maybe we're thinking of, construction and where you have to You know, you have to mine the trees, right? You've got to extract the trees out of the earth. You've got to refine them into the planks of wood that you need, the size of wood, and the dimensions and all of that. And you find this already made, ready to go for you at Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace, wherever you get your hardware, right? But there's an entire extraction process that had to happen before that for you to be able to have your materials. And so we think about this also in creating plastics. How do you create plastics? It's from crude oil. You have to extract the crude oil out of the ground from dinosaurs. Is essentially dinosaurs that lived a gazillion years ago. That's the fossil fuels that we talk about is the dinosaur population and the shale layers in the earth as well. So extracting oil and gas and that type of thing, making oil into plastics, and think how weird that is that we are using plastics to house our fresh drinkable water. A lot of times whenever you get bottled water. So it took a lot to refine and mine just to house clean drinkable water for our society. And then what happens to it most of the times it just gets tossed out the window or landfilled. But if you do have a recycling bin, hopefully you can recycle it and help create that circular economy. So that mining and refining, the extraction process and the refinement process, it doesn't stop there, right? You have to transport this stuff over a state as big as Texas, which is where I'm at. You have to go across state lines, across country lines in North America, Central America, South, or even overseas. And so transport puts out a lot of emissions. And it's where many companies lose a big chunk of their profits is in the transport of their products. So think about creating local markets, local community-based products through local remanufacturing jobs, right? There's a lot to be said to have, this linear economy, which allows things to fall off the end, right? There's a make, a take, and a dump process, but if you close the loop, it keeps those products, those materials into the loop for many, many, many life cycles over, and you can keep the materials much more locally. That also, comes into our perception that consumerism is a good thing, and consumerism is one thing on an individual level that you and I can really minimize in our daily lives. And we can also put pressure on the businesses where we buy our products to minimize their waste as well. So we have the voting power with our dollar, and we decide where we put that dollar in our economy. And we want to support companies that are supporting the local economy, right? The circular economy, so that we can keep these materials in play. And we really want to break the business model around planned obsolescence. I'll do a whole other video on planned obsolescence, y'all. It is wild. Whenever we think about fashion trends, whenever we think about, how long a miniskirt should be, or, how thick a woman's pumps, their high heels should be, there's a lot of fashion trends that drive planned obsolescence. Oh, this was so last season, right? You think about electronics, how you have this brand new component, but it doesn't work with anything else. So you have to buy the new thing that fits the component. So that's kind of a planned obsolescence overview, where companies have designed out the reusability of their products, and they want you to buy new, and that's what's going to keep their revenue going, and you wanting more as a consumer, and not being satisfied with what you already have, what they've already produced for you, and what you've already bought from them. So this drives that habit of just dumping everything, right? We want to just throw everything into the landfill, and this is not a sustainable practice. It's a really destructive business model, and it just fills up our landfills. In Texas, I can speak from experience. We have almost 200 active landfills in our state, and we take in trash from other states as well that may not have enough landfill space. There's also incinerators that burn trash, so that's not fair to the materials that we've already mined and refined and transported for consumption, right? So um, it's really about giving these materials a fair shake for them to be able to realize their entire lifespan or for us as consumers and for manufacturers to realize the entire lifespan of a particular material. And we're talking about plastics and cardboard, paper, glass, metals, even food waste that can become compost. You put it back into the soil, you make those amendments, you enrich your soils, you grow more nutritious crops, which in turn comes onto our plates, our family's plates to consume. So right there, I just demonstrated a circular economy that is extremely hyper localized. So another couple of practices, putting circular economy principles into practice that are already being applied in many instances. So think about car batteries that are being reused for energy storage. Think about clothing collection bins that enable textile recycling and resale. Another great idea or concept is outdoor gear companies that offer repairs to extend their product life spans. So for me, I love my Chaco's sandals. That's Chaco's. This is not an endorsement or to put one company above the other, but Chaco's can take your shoes back, your sandals. They're really good for hiking and wet conditions as well. They're really good grip, but they'll take back and they'll re-sole your shoes instead of you having to just buy a new one. A lot of outdoor gear companies also understand the power of conservation because their entire business model and their entire branding is focused on protecting outdoors and you being protected in the outdoors as well. So they will offer repairs to like your sleeping bags and your tent. Maybe you've got a busted zipper on your tent, or there's been a rip in your tent. They'll offer to repair these materials instead of you having to just go and buy new. So think about even at your local grocery store, bulk shopping dispensers where you can cut your single-use plastic. There's zero waste stores, zero waste event caterers, there's zero waste restaurants out there. So these are really starting to become major business principles to cut waste and to extend the life cycle of these products, capturing manufacturing byproducts even in reuse. Think about, again, I'm going to go back to the fashion industry, the clothing industry. Think about all of these scrap pieces of cloth that make it to the cutting room floor, right? Whenever you're designing and creating these beautiful pieces, but what happens to all the scraps? So there's a whole reuse and revitalization system in the circular economy around scrap recycling. Think about scrap metals and tin. Oh man, copper, aluminum, these are highly, highly valuable commodities on the materials market. So you would never want those to go to landfill, right? You would never want to incinerate those in an incinerator because they have kind of infinite lifespans, right? They have infinite life cycles, so you can keep reusing them. Even designing buildings for material reuse and adaptation. If you look at, I'm going to use this as an example because I lived in Austin for 20 years and the current city hall was redesigned and rebuilt using about 70% reclaimed materials from other building projects. And so it's also a LEED energy and water efficiency certified green building. So there's that where, they're using energy and water efficiencies within the building, and the entire building is encased or constructed from 70% reclaimed material, which is freaking awesome. And I think it's a real boon to the green reputation that the city of Austin has and has developed over the years. It's just one other thing that the city can point to that says, yeah, we care about conservation. Yes, we want to see green buildings all over, and we want to see construction material reclamation. We want to see deconstruction over and prioritized over demolition, right? We don't want to send these building materials to landfill. That's reclaim them, repurpose them into a new building. So the key is incorporating circular thinking really at the design and innovation stage, taking a whole systems approach. This allows synergies across multiple supply chains. It also keeps materials local so that local economies can scale to build out more local jobs and support the local tax base through circularity. So in closing, the circular economy really offers an exciting vision for boosting our sustainability now and into the future. That future needs to be resilient, especially with the large weather incidences that we're experiencing that are even more intense and they're more prolonged. We need resilience, and we need to be prepared in order to rebuild after these weather natural disasters. And so, you can't always rely on Home Depot being your sole source of building materials, just like you can't be reliant upon the electric company always, having the power grid up. Think about Texas in the winter of 2021, whenever we experienced winter storm Uri, and there was like 700 Texans that died because we weren't exactly prepared to not have the electricity to warm our homes during that time. And Texans are just not, our homes especially are just not built for that kind of weather. So we have to think about, these climate changes, the climate impacts, and circularity is really going to help us build out that resilience now and into the future. And while scaling, circular economy does face challenges around cost and infrastructure behavior change, which is a huge one. The environmental and economic benefits are substantial and will only get us to a more sustainable future, because the route that we're going right now is, there's kind of a doom scenario that we're really looking at here. So all stakeholders have roles to play in enabling this transition from linear economy to circular economy. And our current linear practices are highly unsustainable. They're unstable as well. And circular economy really is going to provide the framework for a much better model. So with that, I'm going to see if we've got a couple of questions and see if we've got any up here, because we're live on TikTok as well as LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. All right. So one thing that I think folks who are joining may be interested in is that I do want to offer our Cash for Trash Zero Waste Business Academy. And I think this is a really good segue. If you really care about these issues, if you want your business to build out that resiliency through a zero waste and circular economy approach, we've got your back. I have got just the thing for you. Our Cash for Trash Zero Waste Business Academy is an online training course where you get the proper education on zero waste basic principles, foundational key knowledge, and the proven tactics and strategies to implement in your business to reduce your waste, increase your revenue, develop employee empowerment, build out green marketing strategies and green storytelling campaigns so that you can demonstrate to your customers and your employees, your shareholders, your investors that you're committed to these green strategies to reduce your impact as a business. And you get, group coaching. We offer individual consultation with me personally. There's also a green certification that comes with that upon completion of our program. So if you are interested in that, you can just send me a quick DM on wherever you're watching this, wherever you're streaming this, and let me know. That way I can grab your email real quick and I can send you some information. Now, I do have a freebie that if you've stuck around this long to the end of the recording here, if you've got any interest in our freebie, what this is a PDF download of these exact talking points. This can be used as leverage whenever you are talking to higher ups that need a little convincing whenever it comes to budget, as well as the cost benefits and economic benefits, environmental benefits of going with a zero waste and circular economy approach within the business and the output of the business as well. Whenever it comes to whatever kind of products you're designing and putting out to the public, to the general consumers who will be buying your products off the store shelves. So let me know if you would like that freebie, and if you would like to find out more about our Cash for Trash Zero Waste Business Academy. And with that, I am going to check the questions one more time. If we don't have anything, then I will go ahead and end it now. And I will be back tomorrow. So see you guys soon. Thanks so much for your time. Bye.